Hello everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm going to go through a few stocks here because somebody asked me about HIMS. Honestly, HIMS is bull trends, basically making higher highs and higher lows. I do think that it's getting to a pretty important fib level. It basically got rejected here at 1.414 fib level here. I think that it's probably going to go to 1.618 around $39.42, but sometimes it gets rejected 1.414, and that's exactly where it's being rejected at right now. Now, the rejection ended up initially, it was pushing above the arc over here. Now we're kind of getting back underneath the arc. So there is, it does put a risk and possibility of it coming back down and closing the gap here from the previous all-time high here, around $25.40. Does it have to do that? No, it's got some really nice wicks down here below. And so far, the gap over here could not be met because the sideways and consolidation here is on relatively low volume. So I'm not sure whether or not it's got enough energy and this is going to come back down and back test the previous all-time high here. And if it does end up doing that, that would still be bullish. That would still be a higher low here compared to before, right? And I do see a possibility it can end up doing sideways here, doing absolutely nothing for weeks. That's also another possibility as well. With that said, on the Bollinger Band, it has cooled down enough. Initially, it's just kind of way outside the upper Bollinger Band here, but now it has cooled down enough to get back inside the Bollinger Band. So that's actually something that's healthy after these crazy run-ups already from like $13 already to like $35. It does need to cool down. Closing gap would be healthy, but I'm just not sure whether or not it would necessarily end up doing that or not. On the monthly, you can see why it has a hard time really kind of going up that much further, even though you have a huge uptrend with increased volume over here with big giant green candle over here. It does remind a Palantir, where you have big giant green candle over here. Sometimes you just kind of need to go sideways here for a couple months, 3-4 months, maybe a little longer, kind of cool down this big giant run up and allowing the upper Bollinger Band to continue to expand, so price can go up higher. The lower Bollinger Band is already down to like the ground here, is to the negative. So I'm trying to find this. There's no exhaustion of this trend. The trend looks like there's still plenty of juice potentially to kind of keep going up higher. So there's no worries here. It kind of back tested the upper Bollinger Band here around $29 this month. Looks like it held. Looks like it just touched it, tagged it, and I just want to keep going higher. Nothing really entirely too bearish about this chart here. If you're looking at, ignore it again probably doesn't really matter in this particular instance because it was drawn on the weekly. But if you look at the Fibonacci level, instead of looking at the 1.272 here, you can look at the 1.236 and you can see there's a possibility, and this is just speculation, there's a possibility where price just gets stuck between the 1.414 and the 1.216, between $35 and $30 or $31, somewhere around there roughly, and just kind of bounce here for a few months before pushing up higher, right? There's always that possibility because it can either correct through price or it can end up correcting through time. And because of such a strong trend, I think that maybe HIMS is just going to end up correcting through time instead of price. Again, if a price, it would come back all the way down to like $25. If through time, it could end up getting stuck between 30 and 35, just getting stuck here for a few months. All of those are all possibilities, but is an uptrend, and I'm not going to bet against it. That's HIMS. I'm so bored with like Tesla. It's not even funny. Like, this is the monthly chart of Tesla. You remember how I was talking about how whenever it backtests the arc down here, it looks like it's just going to gravitate up a lot further, right? On November, it ended up getting rejected here, 0.786. On December, it just decided that, hey, I'm not going to care about the 0.786. I'm just going to keep going. Once it pushed through 0.786, it just makes all-time high. And the next level that's going to be important is going to be the 1.272, which is $500. The next level beyond that, maybe it's going to reject here 1.414, right? Just like what HIMS is doing. If it does, it's going to be 540. And then after that's going to be 600. And after that's going to be this can horizontal line over here, which is going to be 700. So make it very easy for you. 500, 540, 600, 700. Those are going to be like the resistance levels here above. Do I think it's going to be stalled right at those levels necessarily? Maybe. It definitely looks like it wants to hit 500. I don't know how it's going to react once it gets there. the Bollinger Band is expanding very nicely. So I can't really say that it's still touching Bollinger Band, so I can't really say it's like way too overextended. It has to come back and back test a lot of things, because whenever Tesla goes, it goes. Like, it doesn't care. Whenever it goes, it just goes, right? And it can spend several months way outside the upper Bollinger Band here. It doesn't care. So with the Bollinger Band expand to upside and downside, I'm just not going to bet against it. On the weekly, it looks like it's just riding the upper Bollinger Band on the way up. It's not way over the upper Bollinger Band. It's actually initially over here it was, but it's corrected enough. Now you're having these 3 consecutive green candles here with a 3 white soldier type pattern. I really do see these 2 areas being very similar over here around November of 2024, where you have 3 weeks just going to go sideways, versus over here where you have several weeks over here around October, November 2019. And then it's followed by a lot of green candles. You're talking about weekly candles number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, until it's way outside the upper Bollinger Band and it got corrected by COVID, right? Over here, how many green candles have we had so far? Well, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And it's not really outside, like way outside the upper Bollinger Band like it was over here, right? So I'm not sure whether or not this bull trend's exhausted. Lower Bollinger Band is pulling down, upper Bollinger Band continues to go up. It looks like it wants to keep going up. The next resistance level is going to be 500. We'll see how it reacts there. This cycle doesn't necessarily have to behave just like last cycle. They're separate, but it does allow you to give a little bit of a clue in terms of what the personality of the stock is doing. So yeah, that's what I think about Tesla. Palantir. Should you be scared? Where is that? You should be scared. Price went from like the 20s to the 70s within what, like, how many months is that? 3 months? 4 months? When it basically just made like a 3x, right? You should be scared. Should you sell? That's a tough question. I'm not selling, even though the monthly is way overextended, even though this is really asking for punishment. Even though it looks like it should backtest like $60 at the upper Bollinger Band here, even though it looks like it should do any of that, it's not doing any of that. The volume is still very healthy, and the trend is still very, very bullish. Even if it comes back down, backtest 20 at the upper Bollinger Band here, it's still a very, very powerful bull trend. I cannot justify selling out of this, especially the lower Bollinger Band is still continuing to expand down here to the downside. I'm not really seeing anything that's telling me that this is like exhausted. Some people say, oh yeah, this is how like a parabolic top, generally happens. You can't really call a top when something is this parabolic. You just can't really call a top. Now, if you're going to objectively look at this, you can try to objectively look at it by using some of the things that algorithms care about a lot, such as the Fibonacci levels, right? These are log Fibonacci levels. If you look at the linear Fibonacci's, that also is helpful. It's already broken above the 1.618 and backtested 1.618, which tells me that it wants to keep going higher. Now, if that's why I'm saying I'm instead of looking at this, I'm also going to look at log and see whether or not there's any potential support resistance. So in the linear, you're getting over the 1.618. On the log, you get over 1.236, right? And on both log and linear, they're backtesting these levels and they're holding just fine. It's only been like the second week where it's backtesting it, right? And this second week has only been about, and it's not even halfway over yet. It does look like it wants to backtest this as support. And if it's able to do that, and also confluence, right? You have a horizontal Gann level over here. If that ends up backtesting that and ends up holding, and I don't know how long it's going to hold, maybe even wants to kind of touch the angle down here below, I don't know what it's going to do, right? But if it ends up doing all that and holding support here, you see very, very nice wick down here below. Then you're talking about price hitting 1.414 and the arc up here around the 140s, 120s to 130s, and then you're talking about hitting the 1.618 up here on the log scale at $175.62. That's going to be a pretty major target because it's also at a Gann level. It's also the 1.618 Fibonacci level, which for log 1.618 is generally pretty important. If it's able to push through all that, then we'll talk about some pretty crazy target after that. I don't want to go crazy and say that this is going to be like Bitcoin in 2015, 2017, it's just going to hit like 600. I'm not going to say that because that's insane. Like the market capitalization is not justifiable for it to go all the way up there. It's a parabolic bull trend. If it gets up there, it'll be completely stupid, and I just don't like stupidity. So I might sell if it gets up there, or I might sell some when it gets up to here at the 1.618. Anyway, I just want to share my thoughts here with y'all, and hope you all enjoy these thoughts. If you find them stupid, please dislike. I've actually have a lot of people that like started disliking my video whenever I talk about Palantir, Tesla. People don't dislike it as much. I think people really dislike me when I talk like bullish when it comes to Palantir, which kind of tells you about the sentiment. I think a lot of people missed out, and a lot of people are really bitter, which is actually part of the reason why I think we might end up pushing higher because of that. But I'm not really sure, right? All I know is just in general, it likes to go from level to level. And right now we're getting over a pretty important level, so we might gravitate up to the next level. A lot of people are also really bitter about a lot of things that I'm saying. I guess I'm getting big. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to these 3 stocks thoughts. Probably going to open up to members first, and I'm probably going to release it publicly later. Take care. Bye.